weekend, and we still have some conditional matches to sort out before we round out that all-important semifinals bracket. It is going to be, I believe, the largest seed discrepancy we can have at this point in time. It is going to be our 8th seed, Peru, taking on the 16th seed in Spain. Both these teams beating their opponents earlier this weekend, Spain dispatching of Denmark, and Peru removing Taiwan from this tournament to make it here. And now these two teams are going to duke it out to try and punch their ticket into the losers semi-finals. As always, my name is Sparky, and I am joined in the commentary booth this time around by none other than Silhouesca Els. Emily, how's it going?
I am doing fine. I had a lot of commentating to do for other tournaments, including this one. So, honestly, just tired, but we gotta push through. How are you doing today, though?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. I can imagine the fact that we are literally half a world apart is kind of playing a factor there. You've had a full Sunday to do a bunch of work here, and I'm just getting started here as we wait for things to get underway here. Gonna be interesting to see how these two teams stack up. Have quite a bit of history with each other in terms of matching up in tournaments prior. Trying to think if they've matched up in 7-key in the last couple of years, but the information escapes me at the moment. I know in 4-key they kind of have some history going back a while, but it'll be interesting to see which of these two teams makes it through. I imagine Peru might be liking their chances, but Spain never one to be counted out. Sure, they have some new faces on the roster, some old guard going by the wayside in retirement, so everybody else trying to pick up their essential pieces of the puzzle to propel them through. I mean, doing very well to make it this far as 16th seed is no small feat in and of itself, so would be interesting to see how it goes from here. So for right now, just waiting to get the lobby logistics settled out, and we'll be getting into the match proper shortly. So as it stands, as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Spain and Peru needing to beat somebody already to get here, and both of them doing it in pretty convincing fashion. Looks like Peru took out Taiwan by a score of 6-0, and Spain as well taking out Denmark 6-0 as well. As we get things up on screen, it looks like protects are starting to come out. We're going to see Rice 2 protected from Spain. Peru opting to protect Rice 3, so maybe a bit of overlap in this match as we get things underway. It'll be interesting to see what the bans are going to be, maybe handshaking LN1 and LN4 to see what, to get rid of some of these maps in the LN pool. But for right now,
Alright.
We're waiting to see what Peru is going to ban out. Welcome back as we wait to see here. Just to catch you up to speed, Rice 2 and Rice 3 getting protected here from both these teams. Right now we're just waiting on Peru's ban, and if that timer expires, we might actually get to see Leo, of all people, provide a ban here.
That would be funny, but okay. I'm not sure what's going to be possible ban here. Okay, okay, is this an actual ban, or isn't this Peru's? I'm a bit confused. Okay, so LN1 is a ban. Okay, so it was Peru's ban.
Yeah.
So let me guess, Spain bans LN4. Oh, okay, of course.
Yeah. Literally right on cue. LN4 removed. Both these teams, I imagine we're just going to see like all 6 Rice picks go back to back to back from here. Like, nobody's going to play LN unless absolutely necessary. Hybrids are probably going to get ignored unless somebody wants to go for like Hybrid 3 or something, which is surprisingly the most popular pick in this pool outside of a couple others that have seen some spotlights. But it feels like everybody's kind of gravitating towards that pick.
Fair enough. Alright, so I think Spain picks. Honestly, I'm not sure. I have a feeling their skill sets kind of overlap a bit just because of how the bounce and the protection.
Yeah, it's basically pick of the litter here. If they both feel very comfortable on these rice picks, and it's gonna be rice 6 to start things off, so a little bit of mixed rice with a bit of a priority on the chord stream elements throughout the chart. Pretty hard overall, but definitely not the hardest pick in this pool, at least by score-wise. I think rice 4 has kind of taken that title from any of the other picks just based on how many bans it catches compared to how often it gets played. So as it stands, I think these are going to be the 4 players we'll be seeing for most of this match. Love and Divisa for Peru, and Lucas and Manuel for Spain. On the other side,
Alright. So this being chosen, it will then depend, I think, on how Peru can hold on to, let's say, their accuracy, because I have a feeling, just because Peru has a higher seed, like, see, teams with the higher seeds, they tend to have better physicality. But I think the biggest upset actually happened in this weekend. I think that was Venezuela and Germany. It's Germany being out Venezuela there. If I correct me if I'm wrong there. But that's one of the biggest upsets I've seen in this entire tournament, actually.
it's up there. I mean, it was pretty close seeding overall, but I think a lot of us were expecting Germany to opt for the LN hybrids, and the fact that they were able to kind of close it out on those rice picks was a bit of a surprise, at least in terms of expectations. As we get underway with rice 6 here, Spain's first pick, and Manuel actually picking up a first couple of drops very early on. The only good thing about missing this early is the fact that if you get them out of the way, it doesn't really affect your scoreline that much, but not being able to get up with that 400 combo cap as everybody else crosses is actually going to give Peru quite a bit of a cushion to work with to start this map off.
Yeah, Peru is starting to already have a big gap just because of the accuracy advantage that they have. Like, even Love is ahead of Lucas, and that's already never mind. But it's still a difference, because if you think about it, the team effort for Peru, or the team score rather, is just higher compared to what Spain has. Just looking at the 97 from Manuel San, but that's mostly just off a bad start. So far, Manuel has really stabilized already.
And as we say, we see the trades of misses between themselves and Love. The only 2 players to have found misses so far during this chart, Lucas and Divisa going at it against each other. Lucas winning the accuracy battle, but overall Spain losing the score war at the end of the day. 35,000 points and climbing as it stands for Peru as we approach this last quarter of the chart. I mean, it's basically more of the same here. The core stream gets a little bit denser as we continue on, dive right back on into it. And if you can handle the first half, this last portion should be pretty much smooth sailing. But as I say, Divisa actually going to be finding the drop, not responded to by either Spanish player, and even despite that, the fact that they're so far ahead in terms of overall team accuracy, with Manuel finding the drop towards this outro, going to help keep this lead intact and even grow it to 50,000 points. Peru running away with this for right now on Spain's first pick.
Lucas takes the MVP of sheer consistency, the only full combo with amazing accuracy, but that's just not gonna be enough. Like, Peru was just super consistent. Ratio-wise, already down, beating out Spain by a lot. 100 count as well. So yeah, not really sure what Peru will go next, but I won't be surprised if they choose another rice pick.
For sure. I mean, a double rice protect from both teams makes it a little bit easier to go into your protect immediately, knowing that, I mean, if we're just going to be able to clean out ratio on this particular skill set. And hold the phone, we're going LN3. Huh?
Okay, so they're picking LN. So they're gonna take a gamble here.
That makes sense.
They're taking a gamble and they're saying, what if we pick LN here, even though Peru banned LN? I'm not surprised that they're trying to take a gamble off of the scores that they're seeing so far.
Yeah, getting that break point early on gives you the opportunity to kind of explore a little bit in terms of the other picks. If you can find points elsewhere, leaves potential comfort picks open later on in the match. So we'll see Suisse check in for Peru. to back up love here as we wait to get the second map underway, Peru with the early breakpoint. We're going to try and double up to start this match off, see if Spain can respond, maybe throw a bit of a wrench in the works, kind of check the hubris here from Peru as we see the players are ready. NPCR command comes out. We're going to get into the second map of this best of 11. First team to 6 points. For those keeping track at home, we'll be moving on to the semifinals. Loser will be eliminated from this tournament as we get LN3 underway here.
Let's see if this gamble pays off. Because honestly speaking, this could go either way. Or at least, I think it could go either way.
Definitely has the potential to, but Manuel finding the first couple of breaks to open this chart off, similar to how it was on the earlier Rice 6 pick. Gonna bode well for Peru and their chances of trying to capitalize on this breakpoint opportunity, as they're the ones that are finding misses so far through this introduction. Everybody else making up over that 400 combo cap with some relatively high accuracies, but Peru's going to be able to take that disadvantage on Spain's side and make it a 30,000 point lead to start things off here, building up quite a hefty cushion should they start finding slider breaks later on in the chart.
Well, even if those drops are happening from a lot, Swissain is still ahead of Lucas. I mean, honestly speaking, this is going to be concerning because Peru as a team has been so consistent. Spain has also been performing well, but team score will matter so much more than, let's say, a person getting an MVP. And even then, Peru just has a better ad compared to Lucas here, even their lowest player here, rather. Or at least a while ago they were.
Yeah, but even absolutely, the fact that the lowest accuracy on Peru can almost equal the best accuracy on the side of Spain does make it a little bit concerning, as there are a couple of trades here. Almost full lobby reset. Lucas the only one holding on to the FC now in the lobby as we approach this outro, but I mean the damage has already been done from the early offset. Peru with that balanced team performance as Lucas finally falls, and that is, I mean, it was already looking to be predetermined that Peru was going to take this, but I mean, just trying to salvage something to mount some sort of way to lower the score here, not going to come to fruition, and Peru successfully capitalized on that breakpoint, going for the LN here and making it 2-0 to start this match off, leaving Spain looking for an answer here very early on, it feels like.
Very much so. I'm starting to get concerned just because, again, Peru has been consistent as a team, and Spain trying to look for answers will be problematic because I think it will take them a bit of time. And the problem is, considering that this is only first to 6, there's really only little time that's given to them.
Yeah, for sure. Don't have the luxury of being able to spend too many picks exploring what is going to work here, but as it stands, they're going to stick to their guns. They're going to go for Rice 2 to potentially try and notch a point on the board. Sure, Rice 6 didn't go their way. Go for something stylistically the same, very much built off the back of that core stream structure, but maybe just a little bit more straightforward at the expense of some BPM. And no substitutions this time around. Swissain staying in to back up Love, and Lucas and Manuel are going to be trying to hold down the fort for Spain as they try and find a first point on the board, but are looking very strong to start this match off.
I understand, like, just trying to get onto the board. So I think picking this kind of makes sense, because if you think about it, I don't think this is probably one of the easier picks of the pool compared to everything else. So that's my guess. Probably trying to see what picks they can try and gamble Manuel sound here, and yeah, actually this is a pretty close, one of the closer picks so far.
Yeah, no early breaks, everybody making it up over that 400 combo cap, kind of getting full credit for their judgments. Not a very long map by any stretch of the imagination in comparison to some of the other maps in this pool, already clearing the first quarter and everybody looking really good, holding on to pretty much mid to high 99% accuracies. This is very much catchable for Spain should Peru find some slip-ups here. Light chord jack section before diving back into the chord stream, and on that transition, Manuel finds the first drop of the map, and it's going to give Peru a bit more of a cushion to work with. They had already managed to build one up off the back of the accuracy alone for their team, but now the miss in the back pocket going to help extend it to about 8,000 points. Still not out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination. This isn't the runaway we have been seeing to start this match off, so definitely got to watch out here for those pitfalls later on, as there's a trade at the bottom of the lobby. Suisse and Manuel both go down. Love and Lucas, the only two holding on to the FCs, going into the last third of this chart. 13,000 points now, the lead for Peru.
It's actually getting super close. This is actually one of the closer picks so far. Goes to show that if it's not as physical, Spain could really have a chance. Only problem though is, even if this lead is at only 17,000 points, the accuracy advantage of Peru is very much there. Manuel dropping to the below 98 range, certainly not going to help their cause at all.
Yeah, and as this map begins its outro, there's a couple of hard patterns to read through, as if though the rest of the chart wasn't already hard enough to begin with. But as it stands, there weren't enough trades from the Peruvians to lend an olive branch to the Spaniards, as Love finally loses the FC, the battle against Lucas. But it doesn't matter at the end of the day when your team is pulling out a 30,000 point score gap to take the second break point in this match to make it 3-0 to start this match off. 991, 989, 989 with a miss, mind you. That's ridiculous.
That's crazy. Just goes to show, accuracy really goes to Peru by a lot. And now that Peru's going for hybrid 1, I really agree with that pick. You want to go for something that will really punish Spain on the accuracy side. And I think hybrids are a great way to test that out, because Rice and Ellens haven't really been going on Spain's way, so why not go for something that mixes them both? I totally agree with this decision.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be fair, they could have gone for something like Hybrid 2 or Hybrid 3. I feel like this is kind of like that happy medium, where it's like everybody so far this weekend has looked really comfortable on Hybrid 2, and Hybrid 3 being as long as it is and being as hard as it is, they might want to go with the path of least resistance. This is probably the best compromise in terms of what they would want to go for, to your point of trying to turn the screw a little bit on trying to balance both the LN side and the right side, because they've looked really comfortable on both ends.
Fair enough. But here's the thing, Peru trying to challenge Spain on comfortability is a pretty bold move, but I like it. It's, in my opinion, it's kind of what they have to do.
Yeah, really just push the advantage where they can, and Manuel finding the break early on. Just these opening sections giving them a little bit of trouble, not able to find their footing very early on, going to give Peru what they were looking for when going for a pick like this, just cause some discomfort. Sure, you trade some of those misses back. Suisse and Manuel having a bit of a time in the bottom half of the lobby, but so long as you have Love in support, being able to stave off Lucas's advances and cancel out their score and make it just a pseudo 1v1, so far they've been able to stand toe-to-toe and overwhelm their respective counterparts on their sides of the lobby, at least to start this match off. And as we cross into the second quarter of this chart, we see no trades this time around when Manuel finds their drops, and Peru able to grow this lead to about 26,000 points now.
Yeah, this is gonna be a bit of a problem. Again, you notice how Peru is just able to hold on. Oh, come on.
Okay, it feels comedic at this point when we start to try and highlight how good they're doing, and they just find these synchronized misses. Gonna put a bit of a dent in that lead that they had built up, down to about 22,000 points. There were some trades over from Manuel to try and, or to stem some of that score loss, but overall, I mean, there are moments where they have these hiccups where Spain could capitalize, but they're just not in the positions at the moment to capitalize fully when they do come around, and it's starting to show in the overall score lead, already halfway through the chart. Lucas, the only one holding on to the FC in the lobby, but right now still being canceled out by Love in terms of overall performance. Maybe ahead by 1,000 or so points, but when the gap is 30,000, you're gonna need a lot more than that to try and make some inroads in this deficit that has been built up here.
Well, unfortunately, that's not gonna happen because Lucas is starting to find their own misses, so that tells me something. Fatigue's starting to kick in. Everyone's starting to really mess some of these parts up, and while these really happen, it's not a good thing, especially if you're down 3-0. And this is really a great pick for Peru. Even though they had some of their hiccups, their ability to just come back and be stable, despite that miss from Suisse, it's very good. Just more than enough to keep Spain in check.
Yeah, absolutely. They're able to mitigate that score loss with these clean drops overall. They're not bleeding over tens of thousands of points the other way. They're able to keep it relatively clean overall, that early on to build up the cushion so that when the misses do come, because I mean these charts are ridiculously hard, and they're able to put on the consistency to see it through to the end, and no better way to show it than with a 65,000 point win on Hybrid 1 to make it 4-0 to start this match off and really put Spain under pressure now.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of pressure on Spain to perform better now. I think Spain probably chooses... Okay, unless Rice 3 has been banned. Okay, never mind. They're going for Rice 1.
Yeah, all the love being shown to the Rice picks so far from Spain, not wanting to deviate course, just trying to find what style of pick works best. They went for the two basically core stream charts, Rice 2 being the dedicated core stream pick, Rice 6 kind of being a pseudo one with a bit of Rice, mixed Rice elements thrown in there, some technical patterns overall to vary it up a little bit, but now going for basically single note streams. This is a very awkward pick in terms of pattern structure, not the most straightforward. There are sections where it's just pure staircase rolls all over the place, so many grace notes to contend with to break up some of the monotony, but with it being as short as it is as well, this could deviate wildly one way or the other if somebody has a really rough middle portion of this map. Or really rough opening to it. Love finding the opening drop here on literally the very first note to give Spain the tiniest little bit of a cushion. The first real major one that they've had so far this match.
Alright, fair enough.
Might have been a moment where they just forgot where the first note was going to be, had their fingers misplaced. Suisse and Lucas finding the trades here, and hold on.
Well, here's the problem. Even though Suisse missed at the start, you know that Lucas... I know that Lucas has been mostly the player who's been getting the higher scores for Spain, and now that they aren't able to hold that combo, that just says a lot. Like, the problem really is on their stamina, but now it's only Manuel who's holding the combo. With the turn of events, this could be huge for Spain.
Already halfway through the chart, Manuel picking up the mantle for Spain. Where Lucas found the miss early, Manuel, the only one with the full combo, does finally find a drop. It is very hard to make it through these sections relatively unscathed, but able to mitigate some of the damage. Traded back this time around by Love with a third of the map still left to go. Spain holding on to their first major lead of this match, 7,000 points to the good. They just need to hang on. Hope maybe one more miss from the Peruvians to help solidify this advantage. They're starting to grow this lead now that Manuel's back up with that fortune combo, but Lucas finds the miss. Shrink this lead down to 3,000 points. There is enough time for Peru to get something out of this at the 11th hour. It is flickering back and forth, starting to solidify in favor of the Peruvians. 3,000 points. They need to hang on to try and take this break point away from them. Can they hang on? Last couple of streams raining down here. And the drop.
It's not enough. It's not enough. That was so close. Spain almost had it. Manuel did an amazing job holding that combo. But that was just not enough. That final miss, I think, from Lucas solidified it. And now Love picking Rice 3. I thought Spain would have chosen this, but looks like Peru will do the honors and pick this core jack chart.
just immediately shotgunning it. They know how they want to try and close this out. On match point already to start this match off. That was a valiant effort from the Spaniards, holding on to that lead for as long as they did, just not able to see it through to the end. Bit of a heart and mouth moment there at the very end, but missing on the very last staircase stream. Not going to be enough to turn the tide. If it had been any messier, maybe we'd be singing a different tune, but as it stands, 3 minutes of solid quarterjack on the cards here for Peru to try and finish this match off. Spain going to do everything in their power to try and hold that off, but we'll just have to wait and see if they can perform to the level of Peru and manage to take one back. They need to start now, lest their tournament end here. And the flashlight coming through for Suisse.
All right. Let's see if any. Is that a flashlight mod?
That is flashlight. So the rare flashlight, I mean, we've seen it before. I know we've had players in the past play with flashlight, but I imagine on a core jack pick like this, you just want to be able to focus very heavily on one portion of the screen, but Suisse actually finding the first couple of misses. Already some trades as well from Spain. Neither of their players holding on to any major semblance of combo. Love next one to fall, so no FCs left in this lobby, and Spain riding off to a 24,000 point lead here. Hold on. This is a repeat of Rice 1. And Lucas finding the drop, not gonna make that much of a dent in that lead that they had built up as we continue on into the second quarter of this chart.
Okay, so now we're seeing what's gonna happen.
I love the 7-note quadding from Love on the gentlest part of the chart where you can actually afford to get away with it. Always having a little bit of fun with things as it stands. It's a very tense moment trying to close this match out, but right now Spain holding on to this 40,000 point lead. Half the chart still left to go. Still plenty of time for Peru to make some inroads, but Suisse finding the next drop going to help increase this lead for Spain as it stands. Down in that 96% range. The flashlight not really working out for them. Maybe a bit of a preferential thing, but ultimately putting quite a bit of a dent in their overall contribution as Spain loses both of their major combos. Manuel starting to find a couple of drops, and we start to see that lead starting to shrink ever so slightly with a quarter of the map still left to go. But Suisse with the drop helps reestablish that foothold that Spain has had so far throughout this map.
Looks like Spain's gonna have potentially their first point. I mean, if I think about it, I'm not entirely sure if even without this flashlight, if Peru would have taken it, just because Spain seems a bit more consistent than usual on this pick.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a question of what if as it stands, but I mean, to be fair, when you're Spain, your back's against the wall, you take anything you can get. A full combo reset on their side, but Love starting to trade some of these misses back as things reach their conclusion. It is, you take the points where you can get them, but this is probably one of the unlikelier ones that they would have been hoping for, but they'll take it nevertheless. It is 5-1, Spain looking to try and make some sort of a comeback here. That first break point gonna pay dividends if they can take advantage from here on out. And Suisse saying in the chat that they mixed up which mod they had on. So probably wanting to play with Hidden, but somehow hitting Flashlight. That's interesting. I mean, nevertheless, it's unfortunate it happened, but when you have a 5-0 advantage, you can maybe afford to get away with a little oopsie here and there. But don't let those pile up, because once the ball starts rolling down that hill, could become a bit of an avalanche. So we'll have to wait and see if Spain can punish from here on out. Haven't had too much luck on the Rice picks so far. Haven't LN 2 hybrids to go into, but haven't looked the likelier of the two teams to want to opt into them. And they're still not. It's going to be Rice 4.
Yeah, I think that makes sense again. Spain has had their chances on the rice picks, so I get it.
It's just being able to keep a clean run going. They have had chances here and there to take some of these rice points away and not give over the break points, but just not able to put it together. If they can hold on, not the longest map by any stretch of the imagination, but with that comes the added risk of misses just exacerbating this lead out of control. So gonna have to watch out for that as Divisa comes back in for Peru to try and rein the situation in. Don't let it spiral out of control and see if they can get out of this with a win. Still on that match point here. But as this map starts off, Divisa actually the first one finding miss. Traded back this time around by Manuel, but gonna help give Spain a bit of an advantage to work with as Divisa finds yet another one. Not answered back this time around. Early goings though, players still trying to get with that 400 combo cap as neither Divisa or Manuel able to really establish a bit of a foothold in this chart. Love and Lucas being left to their devices, trying to duke it out on the top half of the lobby. It is only 1,000 points, but it can quickly spiral out of control if you're not too careful. These misses between Divisa and Manuel keeping things relatively close for these two squads. It is too close to call as it stands going into the first drop, and Love going to be joining the misses here. No full combos on the side of Peru, leaving Lucas by themselves to try and wrestle the situation back.
Never mind.
Find the drop as well. Going to give Peru the cushion that they might be looking for here. 4,000 points going into the back half of the chart. Still not out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination, but if they manage to weather the storm, Love finding the next drop on the calmer section, but they have Divisa in support, going to be able to keep the lead on their side, but that one's going to give the lead back on over to Spain. 12,000 points immediately going the way of the Spaniards as Divisa falls down into that 97% range. A third of the chart still left to go here. Spain trying to hang on, trying to hold on to this Rice 4 win. It is looking good for them. The most convincing lead that they have had outside of Rice 3 here. 35,000 points and climbing with a quarter now left to go as Lucas finally falls.
Wait a second, it's not over yet. Manuel has been doing an amazing job holding that combo, even in the previous picks, and that's been instrumental. Can we see Spain actually taking this away? But wait, Lucas, that's a lot of misses, but a full team reset for Spain. Oh, that's massive. That's a massive miss. Oh my goodness.
16,
not
15.
over yet. Okay, still 15. Oh my goodness, there's still some choke points here. Oh, that's massive. And that's it. Spain takes it. Wow, okay.
Oh. These are getting too close for comfort. If you're Spain. Now 2. Got that break point. Got the own pick. And Peru kind of need to check in here if they want to try and close this out. As I mentioned, that little pebble starting to roll down the hill here a little bit could spiral out of control if they aren't too careful. But as it stands, we're starting to run out of rice picks. And the conversations going on in the lobby are funny.
I think Peru has to pick Ellen at this point because I feel like Peru's strengths are more on that. I mean, again, Spain is starting to get their footing on to the ground the moment they got their first point, which is why I really didn't like that move of just using flashlight or something, because it clearly didn't help Peru, and now Spain has gotten onto the board already.
Yeah, I want to chalk that one up to a misclick on Sweets. I don't think they did that on purpose. I know sometimes we like to speculate as to what the mindset was, but I do genuinely think that was a mistake on their part. So can't be forgiven. As I mentioned, it was 5-0 at the time, but now starting to see what happens when you give an opportunity to the opponent to kind of get settled in a little bit. They're gonna try and close this out on Hybrid 2. They had a lot of success on Hybrid 1, so not surprising to see them go this route to try and get out of here. But Sweet Say checking in, gonna be backing up Love, who has been the anchor so far for the Peruvians. Lucas and Manuel in it for the long haul as well on their side. Gonna have to wait and see how this one turns out. This has been arguably a very comfortable pick for a lot of the teams, kind of a default fallback option. The more daring teams have gone for something like Hybrid 3 in the past, but maybe Peru not wanting to go into that pseudo quote-unquote mini tiebreaker-esque type of map and just wanting to keep it steady with that mix of L and Rice without going too far overboard.
Fair enough.
Right now, just waiting on the players to get ready.
I think though, with how the trend of the match has been going, especially if Peru isn't careful, Spain can really come back.
Absolutely. They are not out of this by any stretch of the imagination. All it took was getting that first pick to just give them the confidence to be like, okay, we're not completely out of this just yet, but as it stands, it looks like some issues updating the map here for Love. So might need to hop out and just re-download it. I know sometimes being in the lobby trying to hard update it right then and there can impose a bit of an issue, so hopefully we can get that sorted out before too long. So right now Leo kind of putting the foot down in terms of that. Need to continue the show as it stands.
Manuel finding some... Oh, that is bad, especially at the very start. That just means that coordination on LN seems to be a problem for Manuel here. But hey, luckily it's still very early on. But the thing is, 2 misses at the start is really not ideal.
Absolutely, especially with everybody else crossing over that 400 combo cap, gonna bleed over a couple extra 1,000 points than they would otherwise as it stands, but able to stabilize ever so slightly here as we continue on into the second quarter. Still very early going. Better to get the misses out of the way early than in the middle point of the chart. And as I say that, finding the drop once again, traded out this time by Sweet Say, but Lucas returning one as well. No full combos left on the side of Spain as we continue on into the back half of the chart. Peru looking to ride this 28,000 point lead all the way through to the end. No trades as it stands. Divisa coming in on the emergency substitution after Love couldn't play the chart due to some weird map issues, but as it stands does find a slider break before too long, so no full combos left in the lobby, but Peru still riding high on this 20,000 plus point lead with Manuel finding yet another slider break going to the last third.
Yeah, that's gonna be a bit of a problem for Spain here. Like, not being able to be as consistent as Peru is definitely going to give them a lot of trouble. And now that there's only a little bit of the chart left, and that's a 40,000 point lead, it would take a lot of those full team resets before a chance could even open up for Spain.
Yeah, for sure, but as this map begins to reach its end, the window of opportunity for Spain to mount any sort of comeback is quickly closing. Peru doing everything they need to close this match out as soon as humanly possible. Don't want to give Spain any more momentum, and as the last couple of structures start to rain down these anchored LNs with the Rice interspersed in between, not a lot of tricks left up this map sleeve to cause the players any more real discomfort. The chances of throwing away 30,000 points is gone. Peru managing to successfully close out this match 6-2 after a bit of a scare halfway there. Able to see it through and punch their ticket into the losers semifinals, knocking Spain out of this year's 7-key World Cup.
Yeah, Spain did a great job in this match. There were so many moments where Spain almost had it, but Peru at the end was able to clean up their mistakes and get back into the form that they usually are in.
Yeah, absolutely. Well played to them. Able to live another weekend, but this was a doubleheader to start this block of matches off. We have another match currently ongoing. It is France versus Canada. France currently ahead of the Canadians by a score of 5-2 as they're looking to go into this next pick So it'll be exciting to see how that match is going. So we're going to go ahead and close things out as it stands on the B stream, throw you guys on over to the A stream to watch the exciting conclusion of that match, because the winner of that match plays at the top of the next hour against Chile to see who is going to be making it to the semifinals. So lots to play for, but until then, we'll catch you guys later.